76ers got the guy they wanted. Caleb Martin is going to be a Sixer. We'll talk about that and more next on Locked On 76ers.
You are Locked On 76ers, your daily Philadelphia 76ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On 76ers your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Well, Mitch, Caleb Martin was a guy that the Sixers targeted, but at a point, it didn't seem like they were going to be able to get him. They offered him at 1.2 years, $16 million. Now you hear he's getting 4 years, 32. So with a player option. So it appears that the guy right now is getting what he asked for and then some, or what he wanted, and they doubled up on what their initial offer was. So it seems like this is a good deal for Caleb Martin. Now, the only concern that I have, Mitch, is 6'5". I know he's a perimeter defender, good defender, good shooter, but they saying he's going to be a power forward, right? Slotted as a power forward. To me, I don't think he's going to be a power forward. I think they're just playing positionless basketball, whereas Paul George may have to guard some taller guys at times. But, strong guy, a good player. I remember he was on a two-way, him and his brother when they first came in the league, and he's self-made, talking about Caleb. But I think it's a good deal, and the brother got paid. He got the money that he wanted.
Yeah, he's he's an energetic guy. He is undersized. When you look at him, you don't say, well, this is a guy you slide in at the power forward. But like you said, in accumulating guys who can play, I think it's a plus. You still have a question at power forward, but like you said, you'll have to switch Paul George over there sometimes. And I guess when they kind of shuffle the lineup a little bit, he'll be more of a mix and match guy. I still don't think they have to have a question of power forward. I think some big body, somebody a little bigger than 6'5" is going to have to pop up on their radar some kind of way. But I do like the pick though. I mean, he's a guy who, we've seen him. He brings energy. He's a very good perimeter defender. He's a guy who can wear a lot of different hats for, to coin a cliche. He's a utility guy. He's an active utility guy. But he can score. He's a better scorer than Paul Reed. So we'll see.
And that's what I'm saying. So look, he's 6'5". We keep getting on the 6'5" thing, right? But last year and throughout his career, he's been a small forward. You know what I mean? So to me, I'm telling you, like, I get it. It's just a positionless ball. I mean, think about it. You got Kelly Oubre at 6'7". You have Paul George at 6'8". This guy's at 6'5". Maxi's at 6'2". Joel's at 7'2". I'm telling you, man, like something tells me they got him that they're gonna have him listed as power forward, but he's not gonna play it. Right. But again, you need somebody that's going to come in and defend. Now you look at it, you have three quality defenders. And him, Paul George, and then also Kelly Oubre, because Kelly Oubre was a much better defender than everyone gave him credit for. Right. Now you look at Maxi's situation. So now you have it to whereas, Maxi's going to have some protection, right? He's going to have three guys on the floor who can guard various different positions. But again, I don't know, man. It's like I keep saying small forward, 6'5", this and that, and I get it. You look at the New York Knicks, how they had Josh Hart playing the 4 at times. Yep. You had other things, so I get that type. I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, Josh Hart was playing that. But before OG Anunoby went down, Josh Hart was starting the games at small forward, and then due to the rotations, he would switch. So maybe they'll do something like that. But, again, he averaged 10 points last year. He shot 34.9% on three. He had 4.4 rebounds, 2.2 assists. This was a career year for him. A guy who Miami really wanted to keep. But, something tells me that this is going to be different. Now, I'm going to tell you this. His first year in Miami, he shot 41.3% on three. So, when they stretched the floor, he did really well. That year, he also averaged 9.2 points, 1 steal, 1.1 assists, 3.8 rebounds. So he's a bona fide player. He played in 60 games that year with 12 starts. The 2022-23 season, he had 49 starts and played in 71 games. And last year he had 23 starts. So, he's played in a lot of games.
Yeah, and I mean, if what really would catch your eye in looking at him is, if you look at the playoff series against Boston, he had in 3 different games he went for 21, he went for 18, and he went for 10. So he's a guy who's gotten more involved as his career is going on. He's if the way that they're playing now, and we keep talking about positionless basketball, the one thing you have to do is if you look at the Atlantic Division, your wing defenders are really going to have to be up to snuff. And he's a guy, you can put him on the wing, and he defends with the best of them. And when you look at the world champions, look at their power is at the wing. You look at the Western Conference champions, their power is at the wing. So it's kind of like it's a copycat league, and people are trying to gird themselves for what a team like the Celtics is capable of doing. And I mean, I like to pick up for them. I do. They didn't. Miami. If Pat Riley doesn't want to lose you, then that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? And I think that's where they were. And you add a guy who's reliable, a guy who is dependable. And you're adding pieces. That's all you can do in this second wave of free agency.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's all you can really do.
He's a good one. Hey, but look, when we get right back, we got to talk about Paul Reed. It's the end of a tenure here with the Sixers. To create space, they had to get rid of Paul Reed. We knew it was going to happen, and we'll have our comments on that when we get right back. Yeah, here's the thing. You kind of knew that. Like I said, you knew it was going to happen. When Paul Reed, when the 76ers failed to get out of the first round, you knew there was a chance he was going to be gone. But when you realized that they drafted a center in the second round and Adem Bona, and then when they went out there and got Andre Drummond to be the backup, you knew Paul Reed's days were shot, especially when they didn't have any money. The thing is, Paul Reed is sad because here was a guy, and I'm pretty sure he's going to find a place in the league. But this is a guy who he got paid. He went out there and he got himself a new car. He went out there, bought himself a house. He just had a kid. And then it's like now you got to go looking for another spot. And on paper, it did sound great. You think about it. The 76ers, a team that's always a contender. Now, they always lose in the second round. But they always they have a history of getting out of the first. So you're like, all you have to do is get out of the first round.
Yeah.
And second and third year money is guaranteed. So you're looking at like everybody's like, yo, he got $23 million or $21 million. Everybody was clapping for him. And then all of a sudden they lose. And you knew with him being due to make $7.7 million this year, when he's making more than the backup center and then the second round pick they just drafted, and he's only going to battle for the third string position, you knew that he was gone, especially that the Sixers needed that money. You knew that.
Yeah, it's they always. I mean, these collective bargaining agreements always create scenarios and loopholes that will ultimately, at some point, benefit the team and benefit management and ownership. That's what they did. I mean, because when he got that contract last year, when you just looked at the numbers, you said, "Man, Paul Reed really, he really did well for himself." But when you look at the numbers a little more in depthly, they just weren't. They didn't use him that much in the Knicks series. The most minutes he played in any single game during that series was 11 minutes and 27 seconds in the opener. After that, it was 9 minutes. It was 7 minutes, 4 minutes, 4 minutes, 7 minutes. So yeah, the handwriting kind of was on the wall for him. He's a guy that we, in the brief time he was here, we did see him develop, and I think that the one thing that if there's any comfort for Paul Reed, I mean, number one, it's a business. This is what happens in a business. But number two, I think teams know that he can be an energy guy for them. And just like the Sixers are bringing on Caleb Martin, a guy who doesn't necessarily fit because of his size at the four. I think the same applies for a guy like Paul Reed. He's a smaller guy, but you can force him at center. He doesn't have the shot to play the stretch forward, but he can be a power forward. So I think he's a guy who'll find a place in the league.
Yeah, he will. He will. I mean, he's a good guy. And the thing is, I'm gonna tell you this: I'm gonna miss him because he was a great guy, and he was cool with the media. Everybody liked him. He was fun. Sometimes he said some stuff that was extremely controversial, but it was really like people said it was controversial. And what I mean by that is it was like bulletin board material, right?
Well, he spoke
his mind. And like if you know him, like a lot of times I felt like some of the things he said was taken out of context, right? Because it's like, oh, Paul said this, and it's like, oh, we got to go with it, we got to run with it.
Yeah.
But he'll find a way, but back in the league. But I'm telling you, and this is a great time to be. If you're going to get waived and you're a good player, this is the best time to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get you're going to land somewhere else.
Yeah.
Now the one thing is, I hate to say it, maybe they should have fought harder for him when he signed that tender with Utah for that second year to be guaranteed no matter what, at least that third one, because it was a bad situation, bad contract. But I feel like he'll find a landing spot. But the one thing I have to say is I'm gonna miss him because he was fun. He was always available. Heck, and the one thing that you got to say about his durability, this brother played in all 82 regular season games, all of them. But the one thing I'm going to have to say is I feel like Doc and them, they let him down. I feel like, it was times when I felt like earlier on he should have been playing more. Because everything he did this year was career high points, minutes, games played, rebounds, all that. And there was times last year where you felt like the year before that, where he could have been developed more, and he wasn't, and he struggled. But I'm gonna say this against the Brooklyn Nets is not this year, but the year before that. He played well in the playoffs. He was phenomenal. So that's what it was. But he had vets. He had vets who was always in his butt. So that's where we are.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, he's the 58th overall pick in the 2020 draft, so he's got 4 seasons under his belt. I feel that somebody's going to pick him up, and I know how it is when you get close to a guy, because he's that guy when you come into the locker room when they first open it up, and he's got, hey, let me chit chat with him and find out what's going on, take the temperature of the team. He was that kind of a guy,
Great guy.
It always benefits media folks to have that guy in that locker room. But again, he was one of those guys we complain. That's one thing you'll complain about in this league is that they don't develop players, and you can't be patient. And he had one of those contracts. It was just like if we need to excite you from this roster, we will excite you from this roster, and that's what they did.
Exactly. But look, y'all, this was like kind of like a little quick one for you guys. We will be back on Monday. We want to thank y'all for listening, and have a blessed day.
And
Peace.
stay cool.
No doubt.